Greetings, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful day. I had a marvelous one. Lots of celebration today for me. Baby girl took 1 week to be fully trained, to be fully potty trained. Took 1 day to learn how to spell her name. And I took 2 weeks to fall in love with her. No, I shouldn't do that. I promised I wouldn't do that, but I can't help myself. They always make me happy and they always tug at my heart. And I take it for what it is for as long as it lasts. Now, today I'm going to share this with you, talking about the importance of being financially literate. Because for a long time, I was financially illiterate, and I am just still in the toddler stages of learning about finances. Did a lot of things that was detrimental to my financial health in the past. And I'm still working on mending that. But now that I'm more aware, a little more awakened, I see things that are frightening. Almost every month, I have at least $200 taken off, and I kid you not, of my cable. When I have to pay my cable bill, I feel tension rising because, for the most part, especially if I don't have my bill in hand, I'm going to hear stuff that's going to make my blood pressure fly to the roof. And I'm going to, because I keep meticulous notes. So whenever I pay my cable bill, I put the interaction number, there's an interaction number, and there's an authorization number. I write those down, and I write down how much I pay. I write down when the next one is due and how much the next. I put all that stuff because other than that, it's just way too stressful. I remember once I had $600 taken off the cable bill because me personally, I'm not a phone person. I hardly ever go on my phone. I had a home phone, but I only had it for emergency to call Jamaica because I had a plan on it, which I never use. But just because we have relatives back home, and if there's an emergency and you have to speak on the phone longer than usual, we kept it for that purpose. And I have the internet and cable, which I no longer have. But at that time when we had that bundle, I remember my bill, because it was a combined bill, was $700. I almost lost it. And I remember calling the company and saying, "You are insane. There's absolutely no way I would have this kind of bill to be a person in my financial situation. I'm not rich." And so it took me about an hour and a half to rectify it. And luckily, some of this, because what they were doing is taking me back 3 months about what happened 3 months. And I'm saying that doesn't make any sense. If you pay your bill every month, there's no way there's no reason for you to be bringing me back 3 months. That's just to confuse me. And it so happened that they brought me back to a time when I traveled. I wasn't in the country at the time. And that day, when they said that a certain transaction took place, I was out of the country. That's how I was able to get out of that. $600. Now, let me fast forward. I mean, this happens on a regular basis. I shared with you guys before someone at a reputable bank was going in our account because when we were moving, we had to do credit checks. And so when we did our credit check, someone had access to this information, gave it to friends or whatever. And before you know, the insurance was coming out of our account for $24 for the entire year. And we didn't know until we caught it. Now, recently, we did some transaction with our vehicle. We were changing our vehicle. And we went through some dealerships. So we're doing a trade-in to get the one we really wanted. When we did the transaction, first they quoted a price to us, and then they came back and said that the vehicle that we had, which was a 2005 CVR, that vehicle, he said two of the doors were changed, even though it was sold to us, saying that it was brand new at the time when we bought it. He said that when they looked at it, two doors were sprayed, and four of the wheels, there were four different wheels from different companies. So because of that, when we were trading our vehicle, it took down the value of our vehicle. Nevertheless, we did the transaction with this company, and so our trade, the banks still had some of that loan, so they would pay out the full cost of the vehicle. Lo and behold, the people that we were dealing with said, well, the bank wasn't giving them the full amount for the vehicle, so we had to sort of agree to take a loss of four something or $5,000. Really thought about it long and hard, but because we are kind of pilgrims and we've moved so much in the last little while, we like having a vehicle that is functional. So if we're moving, for example, we don't have to wait until the day of the moving to get some things to our new place. So we always like a bigger vehicle with a huge, trunk or whatever. That's why we prefer vans. Anyway, I digressed. They said that we can't give you the full price, so we decided to take the 4,000 something, $5,000 with taxes, I think. Lo and behold, when the money was transferred, the payment was paid out to the company where we traded our vehicle. They mistakenly put the money in our account instead of the account of the dealership. So let's just say they were supposed to get, they told us that all they were going to get from the bank was like $17,000. And so we signed documents saying, okay, we're going to have to trade it in for less than what it's worth, because the one we're getting is what we really needed. And in other places, it was above our price range. It was really a good deal. So we said, okay, we're losing this $5,000 because we really wanted the other one, and it was quite reasonable. When the bank was supposed to deposit the money in their account, they made a mistake. They gave them the full price. They got the full price. They knew very well that the bank was giving them the full price for the vehicle, and they made us trade, taking off $5,000 off ours. Now I share this with you because the video that I shared earlier today, talking about someone not having any place to live and moving into someone's home and telling the person, that they don't want meat and they don't want, like this kind of decor. Someone hit the nail on the head. I hardly ever give people, those love recognition you see on YouTube. What is it called? The heart emoji. But I had to, because the person was getting very close to what I was thinking. The person actually, I'm sorry if I don't remember your name. I should have really taken time to think about this, but I'm rushing. I'm very tired. I'm trying to go to lay down. Okay. But the person figured out what I was saying, because it wasn't a literal, it wasn't someone that I knew or someone who was complaining to me about this kind of thing. It was a metaphor for why many people are in the position that they're in. Someone says, you have to look at before you can make your comment, where, what, why, how you get to find yourself in this situation. And the person said that, and I'm paraphrasing her, that how did you come to be this way? How did you come to be in poverty? Paraphrasing that individual. So a lot of us find ourselves in poverty because there are these hidden laws. There are these hidden traps that individuals are not aware of. And the truth is, there's so many, the deck is stacked against a lot of people. And we find ourselves falling in more and more debt, wanting to do the right thing, but because we've got a lot of shysters in the world. And again, these hidden things are there to keep us in bondage. So the individual got the full price of the vehicle. The other company that sold us that vehicle as a new vehicle sold us with car door missing. Like, sorry, they either respray the door or change the door, and had 4 different tires on that vehicle. and we purchase it like a new. How do you avoid this? How do you, prevent yourself from falling as a victim to a lot of these predator, predators? And we're not hearing of the predatory nature of a lot of companies, how they have used the hidden rules to destroy you financially. You don't hear about this. You just hear about how incompetent you are. And if you are in a situation where you've lost a job, or any small changes occur in your family, any unfortunate event, you find yourself homeless very easily, find yourself destitute or desperate very easily. I saw what they did with our vehicle, and it made me shake my head. And there are many, many more stories that I'm not going to go in because I don't want to make this too long. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's very important for you to be as wise as a serpent, using these biblical expressions. Harmless as a dove. I don't know about being harmless as a dove, but be very wise. The only way to really live in this world, to be able to challenge the status quo, and to be able to come out as a successful person, depending on what you consider to be successful, is to know the ways of the wicked. Doesn't mean that you have to become wicked, but you have to know their ways. So in order to overcome it or to conquer it, you have to understand a thief. Think like a thief and not be one. Because a lot of these individuals that we deal with, they're criminals, white collar criminals. They're, I personally, and I have nothing about wealth, I have no problem about wealth, but the truth is some of the most wealthiest people in the world are criminals. They're wicked. They have preyed upon those who are less fortunate than themselves, and then they come out to show why they're successful with this big brawling speech, because they are brawling speech, because you come to tell people about how you have been disciplined when all you have done is been just a big criminal who have exploited people. And so for me, I'm thinking to myself, well, you need to know, you need to understand these things. You need to look at everything, fine print. You'd have to be very critical in who you do business with. But that's the problem. Who do you do business with? Is our community. And every time I use that word, Linda, I can't stop thinking about you, because you have now messed up my mind when I think of the word community, but I'm still going to use it. When it comes to us being in our community and understand the value of strengthening the ties within our community, understanding also not to judge anybody, because a lot of persons have had to deal with some criminal elements in other places, other spaces. And these are the ones who would come out here and tell you that you are worthless and that you should go back to, your whatever hellhole, or without knowing, without not even knowing, without admitting the role many of these individuals have played in destroying you and many like you. I'm gonna leave it like that. So now, and there was another thing too, before I go, this is very important. Took out some insurance recently. We already had insurance. Someone called and said, why don't you update your insurance for this amount and you're paying less? And again, I was a little bit critical, a little bit sinister about the whole thing, but the person convinced us. And only to find out that when I called the person that I deal with on a regular about my insurance to tell her that I had these changes, and that the one was updated, because I thought it was someone from her department that called. She says, I don't know anything about that. That's new. And when she went in and we called the company, we found out that this person just sold us exactly what we already had. Exactly what we already had, except this time we have two. So understand that someone might not come and drag you off with crowbars, but they're doing a mighty good job at keeping you hostage. Stay blessed.